Hello everyone, myself Dr. S. MOHAMED NAZEER. This class I am going to teach you microeconomics. Under microeconomics, wage. Under wage, trade unions and wage. What is trade union? Trade union is a voluntary association of laborers formed to maintain or promote the working condition of laborer. In other words, trade union is a moral institution inspiring the workers to lead a good life by their education, recreation, and their healthy aspect of living. This is the meaning of trade union. Definition of trade union. Sri V.V. Giri defines trade union as voluntary organization of workers formed to promote and protect their interest by collective action. Okay, this is the definition of trade union. Now, functions of trade union. The main function of trade union is to raise the wage and improve the working condition. So the main function of trade union is raise the wage and improve the working condition of its members. Functions of trade unions have been broadly classified into two. They are fraternal function, number two, the militant function. See one by one. Fraternal function. The fraternal function means activities undertaken by trade unions to increase the welfare of workers. I repeat, the fraternal activities, nothing but the trade unions to increase the welfare of the workers. They include welfare measures such as sports, recreation, running of schools for their children, housing schemes for their members, etc. This is called a fraternal function. Militant function. The militant function means fighting the employer for the higher wages and better working condition, shorter working hours, get better treatment from the employers, etc. Under this type of function, trade unions have to fight the right of the workers, okay, and may have to adopt methods of collective bargaining, negotiations, strikes, and boycotts. This is the function of militant. Okay, so there are two functions of trade union: the fraternal function, number two, the militant function. Now, methods adopted by the trade unions to raise wages. What are the methods adopted by the trade unions to raise the wages? Number one, restricting the total supply of labor. If they restricted the supply of labor, automatically the wage will increase. By increasing the derived demand is nothing but if the goods and services demand increases, the demand for labor will increase. So we will bargain more wage. So the trade union will help to increase the demand for the goods and services. By increasing the ability of the entrepreneur. By fixing the higher wages, trade union cause a shock effect in the efficiency of the entrepreneur. If they are a position to give higher wages, they will follow new techniques of production. Okay, the process of techniques, innovations, which will increase their profit. So the trade union help the employer to increase the efficiency, in turn rise the wage. Then by increasing the productivity of labor, the trade union help the workers to get higher wages by increasing their productivity by way of increasing their standard of living and also providing proper general and technical education to the worker. This will help to increase the wage. Okay, directly increase wages through the collective bargaining. This is one of the important methods to raise the wages by the trade union. Collective bargaining. Trade unions plays a very significant role determining the wages of workers through the collective bargaining. Trade unions can raise wages under different conditions. Under perfect competition, under imperfect competition. Let's see by one. Under perfect competition, wages are determined by marginal productivity of labor and are equals to the marginal productivity of marginal revenue product. Okay, I repeat, the wages are determined by marginal productivity of labor and are equal to marginal revenue product. But in reality, market is not perfect. Imperfect, and hence wages will be lower than the marginal product. In this situation, trade union must raise wages equals to the marginal productivity of labor. Now, under imperfect competition. Under imperfect competition, the employer have better bargaining power, but workers have poor bargaining power. Therefore, the employer pay low wages. In some cases, laborers may be given only subsistence wage. In such a situation, the trade union is must to raise the wages of laborers. Trade union can succeed only when wage paid to the worker is above the subsistence level. Where the labor is totally exploited, the trade union can prevent exploitation of laborers. Now let us discuss how trade unions rise through the collective bargaining. It can be explained with the help of diagram. In this diagram, x-axis represents number of laborers and y-axis represents wage. MRP is the marginal revenue product. MRP is the marginal revenue productivity curve. ARP is the average revenue productivity curve. MW is the marginal wage curve and AW is the average wage curve. The employer is in equilibrium at point R, where MRP is equals to MW. That is the profit maximization condition. The employer employs ON units of labor by giving NW. That is OW or NP wage. If minimum wage is fixed at OW or NP, wage and average wage become equal, and if minimum wage is fixed at point S, AW and the MRP are equal. So because if the collective bargaining of trade union, wage increased from OW to OW1, and the employment level also increased from ON to ON1. See, look here. Actually, the employer is the equilibrium at point R, where MRP is equals to MW. But they are actually giving the average wage curve. For now to using this much of labor, the entrepreneur, the owner, is giving this much of salary wage to the laborer, but he's getting this much of productivity. So this gap is profit. Okay, so this is called the minimum wage. But through the collective bargaining of the trade union, they are asking more wage. So they are asking the MRP is equals to AW, average wage, at this point. So they are asking this point amount of wage. So the wages increases from OW to OW1. At the same time, the employment also increases from ON to ON1. This diagram clearly explains the bargaining power of the trade union. Now, minimum wage. A minimum wage refers to a wage which provides not only the bare subsistence level of labor and his family, but also the preservation of efficiency of workers by providing some measure of education, medical requirements and amenities. The fixation of minimum wage prevents exploitation of the worker. So, the minimum wage is nothing but it is not equals to subsistence level of wage. It is more than the subsistence level of wage, which included the what we can say the education, medical requirements, amenities. So the fixation of minimum wage prevents the exploitation of the worker. This is called the minimum wage. Through the bargaining power, the collective bargaining power of the trade union can get this wage from the employer. Okay, that is the reason the employer are joining in the trade union. Now I am going to explain the exploitation of labor or the wage determination under imperfect competition. In reality, the labor market are imperfect. The employer have better bargaining power, but the laborers have poor bargaining power. Therefore, the trade unions become powerful to increase the wage rates. Employer will try to fix the minimum wage, while the trade union try to fix the maximum wage. Under imperfect competition, the supply curve is rising from left to right. It means employer can attract additional workers only by paying higher wages. The supply curve of labor is also called the average cost curve. Average cost curve is also called supply curve of labor. Okay, average cost curve or average wage curve of labor. Since the average wage curve is rising from left to right, corresponding the marginal wage curve will also be rising from left to right, but at a greater rate. Okay, this can be explained with the help of diagram. In this diagram, x-axis represents the unit of labor and y-axis represents wage and productivity. MW is the marginal wage curve, AW is the average wage curve or supply curve or average cost curve. ARP is the average revenue product. Average revenue product. MRP is the marginal revenue product curve. The employer is equilibrium at point E. Employer is equilibrium at point V, where MRP is equals to MW. That is a profit maximization condition. At this point, MRP is at a higher level, NE. But the wage per worker is at a lower level, NR. The average wage is a supply curve. So it is this point. So the salary, the wage is NR. But with the help of this labor, they are producing this much of commodity. Okay. So the wage level is NR. Whenever wage is less than MRP, there is exploitation of labor. The exploitation is equals to RE. So with the help of this much of labor, they are giving this much of wages, but they are getting this much of quantity of commodity. Whenever the wage is lesser than the MRP, there is exploitation of labor. The exploitation is equals to RE for the marginal labor. But the ARP is NQ. Average revenue product is NQ. So the average wage is NR. Therefore, the exploitation is RQ. So with the help of this much of labor, they are producing this much of commodity, but they are giving this much of wages. So this gap is exploitation. Hence, the total number of labor is ON. Hence, the total exploitation is PQRS. This is the exploitation of labor under imperfect competition.